Why don't you tell me a little bit about how you first got started in the financial world?
Wow. So I blinked, and 35 years later, I'm still doing this. And I can't believe I've been doing it a really, really long time. But how I got into the financial services industry, I got to go kind of to a really way back, where we were talking late 70s, early 80s. It's kind of an emotional time for me because I thought my calling in life was men's clothing. So I started off in the haberdashery world. And I think about it, it was a great launching pad for what I'm doing. Didn't think it at the time because I thought this is what I was supposed to do for the rest of my life. But I had a really awesome mentor. And the word haberdasher, in case you didn't know, actually from British origins is more buttons, zippers, and small things. The North American version is the seller of small things, and it's basically men's clothing and accessories. But I had a really awesome mentor, and Clayton had a saying, your most important customer is your sock customer, and don't ever forget that. And it took me a while to understand that, but everybody wants the suit sales, everybody wants the big sales. And he said, but if you take care of people with the small things, just a pair of socks, and you service them well and treat them well, you got a relationship for life. And he was right. And that really is true whether you're in the haberdashery world or the financial services world. But I thought that was my life's calling. And, back in the early 80s, the farm crisis hit. I had a lot of money borrowed. I was buying this business on contract. It was a great clothing business. But very similar today, interest rates were really low, and borrowing money was easy. And so I just borrowed a lot of money. And all of a sudden, the farm crisis hit, and interest rates went to 16, 17, 18%. And of course, so did the interest on my loans. And I was faced with a really, really hard decision. And that was, one, can I continue to pay that much interest? And because of my age, very young, and the amount of money I had borrowed, of course, the creditors said, you know what, you maybe need to quit doing this. And that was really, really hard. My wife worked in the store with me. We had just had our first child. So the thought of not doing what I thought I was called to do was really, really hard. And of course, I got out of the clothing business, and everybody said, you need to declare bankruptcy. And that just wasn't in my DNA. That's just not who I was. It's not what I believed in. But yet I had no clue how I was going to pay all that back. So I mowed lawns. I did absolutely everything I could to make sure our family was fed. And somehow over all that time, it worked out. I was able to pay it all off. But that left a really, really deep scar, wound, whatever you want to call on it. And especially at the time, people would say to me, oh, you're going to look back and say this was the best thing that ever happened. And I wanted to pop them one in the face, because it's like, you have no clue what I'm going through. My wife and I, we got a little one. We're trying to figure out how we're even going to pay the bills. But now when I look back, it's the best thing that ever happened, because it makes me a better financial planner. I vowed at the time that, I was just arrogant enough to know that I could always make more money. Things were going well. I had all the answers, enthusiastic youth. I just was convinced I could do anything. And to have the world basically tell me, no, you can't. I vowed if I was ever in a position that I could help others not go through that, that was going to be one of my passions. So, making a short story long here, but I wound up selling advertising for the Argus Leader. And one of the companies that I called on was a financial planning firm. And I basically just said to them, so tell me what you guys do, and tell me what you guys and gals do, because I want to be able to design a advertising platform for you. And when they started explaining it, I thought, where the heck were you people 5, 6 years ago? Somebody should have sat me down and said, look, things are going well right now, but you need to make sure you're putting money away. And me, I was spending it as fast as I could make it, of course, which is unfortunately, our human tendencies. So I went through the planning process, and I sat down and I just thought, oh man, there are so many people who need to do this. And, again, everybody in our industry wants to chase, people with millions of dollars. But my passion is still helping that person make their first investment, or somebody who's going through a little bit of a difficult time or says, I can't figure that out. Should I be doing this or be doing this? Is to just go back and apply common sense and good financial planning principles and try to prepare for we all need to plan for what we expect is going to happen, but being prepared for the unexpected, that's really at my core, because I didn't do that, and it taught me probably one of the greatest life lessons no one should ever go through. So that's why I'm still incredibly passionate. That's still why our why is, to really help people plan for the expected, prepare for the unexpected, so that they can confidently enjoy life. But you'd think after 34 years doing this, I've seen it all, or I should know it all. I'm just as passionate and learning just like I did the first year. And fortunately, it's partially because you have the shifting winds of government, you have societal changes, and like I said, just about the time you think you got it figured out, life gives you another bag of humor. So I don't regret having gone through that. I wouldn't want anybody to go through it, and I don't want to go through it again. But that's really kind of what started our fundamental belief and our core values. And that's why I do feel it's different than a lot of other organizations in the financial services industry. One, because pain is a great teacher, as long as you are in fact learning from it. And yeah, it was a tough thing to go through, but I look back, I had to apply things that you do out of necessity, and it was only things I could control. I couldn't control what interest rates went to, but I should have been better prepared. So planning is foundational and fundamental to what we do. So yeah, it's the emotions are still there. You'd think they'd go away after 30-some years, but I don't ever want to lose that either, because otherwise you become desensitized and you just, when you're working with people's finances, I don't want to ever put anyone in that kind of a position. So yeah, that was a really long answer to a very short question, but